In November 1860, brought to a head the issue of slavery in the United States. 7 southern states seceded from the Union rather than continue negotiation and compromise with a government they felt would be hostile to their rights as states. The first to secede was South Carolina on December 20, 1860. By February 1861, 6 more states had joined the new Confederate States of America. Early in the morning of April 12, 1861, Confederate guns around the harbor opened fire on Fort Sumter. At 2:30 p.m. on April 13th, Major Robert Anderson, garrison commander, surrendered the fort and was evacuated the next day. The Union would not recapture Fort Sumter for nearly 4 years. You ready? 3, 2, 1. On January 9th, 1861, the Star of West, a sidewheel merchant steamer that had been sent from New York with supplies and reinforcements for Anderson, was unable to reach Fort Sumter because Pickens had blown up the harbor defenses and fired on it. Anderson, under orders to fire only in defense, could only watch as ship was turned back.
Fort Sumter is an island fortification located in Charleston Harbor, South Carolina. Originally constructed in 1829 as a coastal garrison, Fort Sumter is most famous for being the site of the first shots of the Civil War, 1861 through 65. U.S. Major Robert Anderson occupied the unfinished fort in December 1860, following South Carolina's secession from the Union, initiating a standoff with the state's militia forces. When President Abraham Lincoln announced plans to resupply the fort, Confederate General P.G.T. Beauregard bombarded Fort Sumter on April 12, 1861. After a 34-hour exchange of artillery fire, Anderson and 86 soldiers surrendered the fort on April 13. Confederate troops then occupied Fort Sumter for nearly 4 years, resisting several bombardments.
By Union forces before abandoning the garrison prior to William T. Sherman's capture of Charleston in February 1865. After the Civil War, Fort Sumter was restored by the U.S. military and manned during the Spanish-American War. The afternoon of April 11, 1861, a small open boat flying a white flag pushed off from the tips of the narrow peninsula surrounding the city of Charleston. The vessel carried 3 convoys representing the Confederate States government. Established in Montgomery, Alabama 2 months before, slaves rowed the passengers the nearly 3.5 miles across the harbor to the looming hulk of Fort Sumter, where L.T. Jefferson C. Davis of the U.S. Army, no relation to the newly installed president of the Confederacy, met the arriving delegation. At last he developed a plan. On April 6, Lincoln told the governor of South Carolina that he was going to send provisions to Fort Sumter. He would send no arms, troops, or ammunition unless, of course, South Carolina attacked.